Jabali Afrika means Rock of Africa. Jabali is a Swahili name for rock. And basically to us, it was more a meaning of a foundation, because the sound that we started with Jabali there was no group that played what we played. So, and when you look at a rock in the African context, it's usually, a rock is something that is associated with the foundation. You know, even when you're building a house, you know, you have to reach to the rock to build a house. So to us, it was an ideal name, and apart from that, it was also, it also meant like rock as in the music, you know, the rock of Africa. So Jabali Afrika, Jabali in Swahili rock. Africa meaning like the rock of Africa. What makes Jabali Afrika different is basically the two fundamentals that we have in our music. And it's basically, we play original music that is based on the traditional African rhythms, but we adapt them in a way to make it understandable to the people right now, you know? So, and it's the same way we took traditional African instruments, the same way people take other modern instruments to create new music, you know? So we must see a traditional instrument that basically you find that people played certain songs on that instrument. But what Jabali did, we came up with our original compositions, but based them on the same sounds. The same way our forefathers used the instruments to compose those songs, we use the same instruments to compose new songs. And the second fundamental is basically based on our vocal harmonies. You know, our harmonies are big. It's like a 4-piece harmony, you know. In most cases, you see a band like us, you see like some of them have 2-piece harmonies. Sometimes you find that maybe 3-piece, but our vocal is big, you know. Our vocal is very big.
When you see me coming, don't you run away from me. I mean no harm to you, I'm just passing through.
When Jabali Afrika started, we started off as a percussion band. You know, it was basically percussion and flute, you know. But we are one of the groups that harmonized the percussion. Like you could find, we tune some drums into different tones, you know, like the big bass drums. Those are like our creation in the sense that we wanted the bass sound from the drums, you know. So we took the bubumbus, you know, and designed bigger sizes of the drums just to get the bass sound. But if you listen to the sound, the percussion sound, it's harmonized. We have tones that are higher and we have tones that are lower, and we have like tones that are mid-range. Our biggest musical influences have been from the sounds of bands that were there before us. There was this band, Osibisa, which was topped the British charts in the 70s. At that time, we were very young. We are guys who were born in the early 70s, you know. But we used to hear this music on radio all the time. And even when we started the band, a lot of the older musicians who listened to those bands were surprised, like guys like us, our age, most of our age group was listening to different kind of music, was listening to like a lot of the hip hop, pop, disco sounds. But us guys were caught up with that Osibisa sound. The Osibisa sound was the biggest influence in Jabali's sound because they were very percussive and they were very high energy, you know? So that was a very big influence to us, and Ladysmith Black Mambazo, because their style of singing was basically the style of singing that you find in from western part of Kenya too, where we come from, most of us, you know? So those two influences were big in the Jabali sound, you know? And I'll say also people like Hugh Masekela, and apart from that, we listened to a lot of sounds from West Africa, because my older brother, Luke, basically went to school with a lot of guys from West Africa, and used to bring us a lot of interesting music, you know, that we used to listen to. So I'll say the influence comes from basically the musicians who are there before us.
Scottsville, Michigan, finance series, you know, we're just about to get on stage, and it's one of the places sold out, as you can see on the monitors. You can see the audience is seated, you know, and it's on our tour. What do you call this tour? Peace and Love, Peace, Justice and Love Tour, 2008. Nairobi, Kenya, coming for you.
Yeah, you heard the maestro. Maybe you didn't hear the maestro. You have to start late. Why? Because there are too many people coming in. So I don't know what the fire code says, but it says only 300 people. I guess we're expecting more than 300 people. But that's African music for you. Roots music. It's supposed to start at 8 o'clock, but we're going to be given a heads up so everybody can come in. You know, in the West, they start things on time, not 1 second later, 1 second before. The man had to come in a suit and say, "Gentlemen, I'll give you a heads up."
And tomorrow is Grand Rapids. Yes, Grand Rapids. Soul Food. That's where we're going. Scottsville. Performing ads 2007, 2008. You see Jabali right here. You see that? Tonight at 8:10. The next 20 minutes. Yeah, man. Yeah! Jabali.
This song is called Champion of Love.
That's my first time and it's awesome. Very good.
It was amazing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us, man.
Thanks for coming.
Hello, wonderful show. Thank you.
Thank you.
When you come to a Jabali Afrika show, you expect to see, you expect to be educated, number one. Number two is entertainment for all ages. We are not like specifically a band that is geared to just one kind of crowd. And from our touring, we've done a lot of children's festivals. We've done a lot of rock festivals. done a lot of like theaters, done colleges and universities. So basically, we are people who entertain all ages, you know. We have, and our music is not only music for just to have fun. It also stands for other things. We have music that is politically motivated, you know, because if you look at where we come from, still, there's a lot of things that are not being done right. And we try to voice our opinion as artists to educate and also to just drive some points across, because music is a very powerful medium.
It's too hard for me. Cause I'm living. It's too hard for me. Cause I'm living. It's too hard for me.
At the Jabali Afrika show, you expect to be entertained, you expect to get educated, you know, and also sharing the parts of where we come from, like our culture, you know. When you look at like the West, mostly Africa is portrayed in a certain way, you know. And as artists, sometimes we come in and try to also bring the other side of where we come from, you know. Because the only thing we see on TV is the famine, the hunger, you know, and all those disasters that are happening in Africa. That's not what you see in Africa, you know. So we try to bring our culture here, and from our touring, which we've been doing for now almost 12, 13 years in the United States and all over the world, some parts of the Caribbean, it's like we've been entertaining people from different ages and different walks of life. We've been featured in children's festivals. We happen to be on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which is a children's program. And that's what gave us our biggest breakthrough. But apart from that, also we've done reggae festivals, rock festivals, you know. We've also done a lot of colleges and universities. So basically, Jabali Afrika has been performing in in a lot of different places that you expect music to be, you know. And also, if you look at our rebooking rate, we are constantly on the road, and our rebooking rate is 98%. So it tells you definitely we are up to something good. Jabali Afrika. Jabali means rock, rock of Africa.
Culture, 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 culture TV. Culture, 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 culture TV. The African, the African, the African connection. The African, the African, the African connection.